Yeah. Well, it's not due today. It's due. Oh, by the way, I changed the deadline. The end of school deadline. I found out my grades are not due until like the 22nd or something. So due the 18th. So give me everything on by the 18th, and then we're good, including Scratch, including the lesson plans, any rewrites or redos of any of assignments. Make those all get in by the 18th.
Just a quick kind of refresh of the lesson plan. You said that you didn't mind what format we used, correct?
That's right. Cool. All right. Oh, one more thing I need to. Yeah, so a couple people asked me about lesson plans. Let me just need to get a link here. All right. Where's my? All right. There we go. All right. So I'm going to post this up on the class site for. I don't know if anybody's missing who might be at home, but David, is he at home? All right, good. And somebody can log on. Cool. All right. So just a couple of things to do today. Let's do a real quick Scratch activity just to remind ourselves how it works. And then we can finish our Scratch projects. And we can talk about lesson plans as well. Okay, sorry about this. There we go. All right, how do we get back into Scratch? Scratch.mit.edu. Everybody remember that? And do you remember your password from last week? Uh-oh.
I'm surprised.
You're like you. That's so one of the things I've been doing a lot this year is doing a lot of Scratch classes for kids. And the hardest part is remembering your password, right? If you can just get them to write their passwords down, then you're golden for the rest of the class. But this is the hard thing. And by the way, this is if you're teaching right now and you've got some time at the end of the semester, Scratch is a great thing to do. Or if you're stuck with some kids over the summer and want something for them to do, Scratch is a really fun way to get into things. Let's see. So. Cool. Oh, I didn't even look. How many things are we up to on the Scratch site? It's like 9 million, a couple 100,000 or something like that. It keeps going up. Yeah, a lot of Scratch stuff happens this time of year. So last week we made the cat walk, right? Mm-hmm. And we learned how to use the scripts and you how to use the costumes and some of those other parts. So this week I want to do a real simple thing. It'll just take us about 15 minutes or so. And then I want to show you some of the curriculum that you can build into Scratch and how you can use it to teach things like science and math and other subjects. So when you get into Scratch, just go ahead and hit the create button. So we start with a blank Scratch from scratch. By the way, if you see that yellow bar at the top, that means it sent you an email and you're supposed to click on the link in your email. You'll need to do that before you can get credit for your final assignment because you need to be able to click that so you can share your projects. All right, does everybody have something like this? I know some people are just catching up. All right, so the idea here, I linked on the website. There's a teacher's guide in case you want to do this with some students. There's a teacher's guide there that will kind of remind you how this process works, but it's pretty easy, and so you can kind of learn. The idea here is we want to introduce key features about Scratch by teaching kids how to do a little driving game. And driving games are really simple. So if you were going to create a driving game on the computer, how do you expect it would work? How would driving work? You don't have a car, right? So what can you use in place of an actual car?
An icon. Like a sprite.
Yeah, okay, but how would you drive? Yeah, the keys, right? So so the key thing here is we're going to use our keys in order to make the car drive. So to first start, let's get a car, right? Now we've got our cat here, and that's all fine, but we can change its costume because, of course, this sprite here, sprite 1, can be anything. If you go into the library, remember how we do the library? So I clicked first on Costumes tab, and then I'm clicking on the library icon there. So I can see, and there's lots of cars in here. So if I click on the category for transportation, you'll see that there's several cars. So we could have also drawn our own car or uploaded a picture of a car. If you let kids do that, then they spend 10 minutes finding the perfect car icon or something. I don't know. Or you can choose a horse or a magic carpet or the beetle. Yeah, or there's also the street cleaner. The street cleaner is interesting. You notice all the cars are facing one way? So in Scratch, they had to decide which way is the front of your thing. So the front is to the right. And that's true of all of them except one. The street cleaner is backwards. And the reason for that is because if you flip it around, then it doesn't say MIT engineering correctly. Because it's all backwards then, and it doesn't. You can't read it.
Is everyone's library going to be different?
No, this is the standard library that comes with Scratch. Right? Are you seeing different things?
Well, I see different things with horse. Like you have a spaceship B and horse B.
Oh, I clicked on transportation. Maybe that's why.
That's what I'm on, but I only have one spaceship and one horse.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
I like horse.
Oh,
You don't
I
have
don't.
spaceship B or horse B.
Oh, I know.
I
know what the difference is.
Oh, because it's those costumes.
Yeah.
right?
These are two costumes that go with the same sprite, right? So you clicked on the new sprite button, and I clicked on the new costume button. That's the difference. But no matter, you can pick any one you want.
Then go to costumes.
So I'm just going to pick the convertible here. You can pick whichever car you like, whichever device. So what I did is I added a costume to my cat as opposed to adding a new sprite. But either way works. If you want to get rid of something on Scratch, you go up to the scissors here and you just click on the thing you want to get rid of, and it deletes it right up. If you want to copy something, you get this stamp. The stamp is the duplicate button. So anything you want. So if I want 2 cars, I just click on this. Oops, did I do it? There we go. Now I've got 2 cars because I clicked on it with the duplicate button. So now if I want to get rid of it, I use the scissors. Okay, so we've got our car. Our car needs something to drive on. So we need to do a track. And that's going to go into the background. That's going to be part of our stage. So we'll click on stage, or sorry, backdrop. I always say background. But anyway, backdrop. If you go to the library, there's lots of nice backdrops, but there's no street backdrop, right? We'll have to create it ourselves. And so we're going to use the drawing tools to create our own backdrop. The created backdrop from drawing, you just click on the little paintbrush there. Click on the stage. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if I'm going fast, feel free to stop me. We'll get caught up.
It's saying I'm not I think on the internet.
Well, that's not our website anyway. Go to scratch.mit.edu.
Out of it. Contract for the day.
Just for the week, dude. I missed your Scratch job in my week.
That would be fun. Cool.
Oh my god.
All right. So to draw a track, here's a real quick way to draw a track. The simple thing to do is to draw the part that's not the track first. So basically, we're gonna fill the screen with a color. I usually pick a green color. like it's grass or something. But you can pick any color you like. And I just fill the screen with the paint bucket tool. Ooh, that car blends in really well. Look at that. Maybe I need to change my car. All right, so now I've got my backdrop there. You're not playing along? Oh, try a different browser. Oh, what's going on with that computer?
Not happening. Oh no, I didn't. I printed these. These are printed.
How do you put it in the printer?
She doesn't
The little
change.
cursor, no. The little cursor there. Just click on it.
I just
Sorry, I got really
printed
excited.
Okay, so some of you are jumping ahead of me. That's great. Essentially, what you need to do is just draw the street, and we can use that with the paintbrush tool. And the trick here is to change your, first of all, pick a good street color, like a gray. And then at the bottom here is a little slider that tells you how thick your line is. And if you make it really big, like slide it all the way over, then you get a nice big paintbrush, and you can just do this. There you go. Instant track. You could do a figure 8 if you want or something. You can make as many tracks as you want. Some people like drawing a little dotted line down the middle, something like that. I do like to do, you can also do a finish line. Oh, no, that doesn't work well.
Your color.
Oh. Boy, didn't like that at all. I'm going to have to start all over.
Oh, no, not in there. I don't know how you got that there.
Okay. Okay. If you shrink your line, if you use the rectangle tool, you can make a pretty decent finish line just with rectangles. Oh.
No, that's insane. Is I did 2 circles and then filled it. That's why I was so excited about it. I guess.
It's a little awkward to do this. It's kind of hard to click on the right spot. But if you keep after it, it'll eventually work. All right, that looks sort of racetrack-ish.
Oh, you made a perfect circle.
Well, that's been on a good jar.
That word always.
What?
I always found that word funny.
Jar?
Jar. It's just so like awkward to say.
Yeah.
Really big.
Yeah, well, big
How
try.
about that?
I'm gonna make this green. No, I saw it. Circle. Can I like get off there?
I definitely need a different color card. That is just too camouflaged.
Cut a perfect circle. That was
That looks oval from here.
You know what? I don't know what else.
I'm just saying.
I did a little.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Let's put my car right here. Can I go back to my
Car is good.
Is that right there? Also?
Yeah, that's the painting area. If you want to adjust your car, you want to change the color or something like that.
So is this my actual receipt?
That's actually a game over there, right? Now, if you want to get to the back.
Kind of so hard. Like parts of
All right. Let's see here. How about,
I'm big.
oh,
I think my hat was too tight. Yeah. Yeah. This one? It says one size fits all.
there and that one size fits all.
by the way, when you're doing the painting, there's a really cool feature. Because sometimes if you get a picture off the internet, there's some background around it or something like that. this color right here at this first color, the color on the corner there with the red stripe, that's actually erasing. So it will erase whatever color you click on, which is very cool. So if I want to erase this little green right here, I just click on it and boom, it's all gone. And so that's really good. Like if you have a white background on some picture and you want to just get rid of that, you can just erase it with one click.
How'd you change the color of the car?
I use the paint bucket.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, fancy.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna make them purple.
All right, much better. Now you can see my car. I'm much happier with that one. Cool. All right, so once you've got your sprite, we only need one sprite for this. Once you've got your car sprite and your track, then we're ready to do some scripting. Give it a little minute here while people get stuff adjusted.
White?
Well, oh yeah, because it's a gradient. Yeah, no good. There's some good way to do it. With this gradient.
It's already make your little thing smaller.
Yes. Oh,
Track.
exactly. Great point. Eleanor says that this is too big for the track, and that's absolutely correct. We need our car to be smaller, right? At the very top, there's a button that says grow and a button that says shrink. You grab the shrinky button, and you click on your car a bunch of times. It shrinks down to a good size. All right, and then you can put it right on the track there. Oh, you know what? It's because it's really awkward here. How do I delete that? All right, so go back to the paintbrush. Slider down to make a really big rectangle.
Boom.
It doesn't look blue at all.
Yeah,
It looks blue on.
I keep running into that same problem. Cool. Yours is going to be a short race.
Yeah.
That's all right. It'll work. At the very top, there's a shrink tool right next to where the scissors are. Cool.
Over the arrow go.
All right, that's a different way to go. You have to finish one.
Here.
Okay. It's gonna be a short race.
How do you like the lead?
This is an undo button. Always work the way you like, but if your track or something is not perfect, that's okay. You can always come back and adjust the track later. You know, it's never a finished thing. You can make a different track. You can try different things. But I think we should move on to the scripting so we can start driving our cars, right? And the script for this is actually very simple, right? So we said before we want our car to drive. We're going to use the arrow keys to make our car drive. The first thing we need to do is figure out how to turn our car. Which keys do you think should make it turn?
Left and right arrow.
Left and right arrow, absolutely. Cool. All right. So remembering what we did last week, we've got our scripts, and our scripts have all the different categories of scripts. What do we need first to do something with the right arrow?
Start.
What category is that in?
Actions. Just kidding.
Very simple.
That's a good guess. Actions. It's very similar to that. What is it? Not motion. An event. Yeah, we need an event. Hitting a key is considered an event, right? So do we have the arrow key there? We've got the space key. That actually stands in for all keys. And if you click on the little triangle there, you can change that to right arrow. All right, so now I've got my right arrow key pressed. And what should happen when the right arrow key gets pressed? We should turn to the right. And that is, of course, a type of motion. So we can go into motion and turn to the right. Okay. And then, of course, we need to do what else? Left arrow, right? Absolutely.
Mine has no motion block.
Yes, if yours has no motion blocks, what does that mean? That means you are still on the stage. And the stage, of course, cannot move, so it has no motion blocks. So that's a good thing. So make sure you click on your car so that you can put your script in the right place. Remember, because each sprite has its own scripts, and the stage can have its own scripts. Right. All right, so we've got the right arrow key, and of course you can imagine how to do the left arrow, I hope.
Okay.
All right.
How do we reset it? I forgot.
All right.
That's just for
Cool. Can we test this out? How would we test it out?
Press the button.
Is that helpful? I see people squinting at the screen. All right, so if I want to test it out, what do I do?
Test it out.
I press the arrow buttons. Of course I do. Yeah, it looks good. Cool. Mine looks a little funny when it turns, don't you think? Any idea why that is?
Turning and not,
Your center is not in the center.
Ah, yes, it's turning around some point, which is in an unusual place. That's a feature of the costumes that we have, right? So if I go into my costume, I go back to costumes, and I click. There's this thing at the corner called Set Costume Center, and right now this is where my costume center is. So it's actually turning around that point, but I can change that. So I just click on Costume Center up there in the corner, and then I click on where I want my center to be, and now I've got it nicely centered there. So if your car is turning funny, that's probably because your center is off or
That's how
something.
you get your tires back.
Where's?
Exactly. Costume Center, you have to click on Costume, and then it's in the upper right corner of the costume editor. No? There we go. Ah, look at it. It was just hiding. It was hiding behind another window.
Can it detect multiple button presses at once, or is that not?
Yep.
It seems like equal space to make it move, and then you try to turn the direction and stop everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, if you hold space, it might block the other keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A keyboard thing, or is it a scratch thing?
Not sure. Good question. Yeah, the old computers, they couldn't have two keys at once, but you'd think they'd change that by now.
You did the right one.
All right. So we've got that. So we've got the car turning left and right. And now when I turn it, that looks much more reasonable. Might be even better if I had it turn around like, bless you. I could make it turn around the front tire. Maybe that'd make more sense. Is that a better place to make our turn? No. Wait, I can do it. Does that seem better or worse?
No.
It does seem a little funny. Yeah, I'm going back to the center. Anyway, so you can play around with it. Okay, so let's make our car drive. Right? Let's do it. The real simple way is we'll just glue the accelerator to the floor. Right? All we really need to drive. We'll start with the green flag there. That's that's how they start the race, right? Green flag. And all we need to do is we need to move, right? So we know how we can move. We got that little motion block there, that one move 10 steps. But we don't want to move just once. So what do we do instead?
We have to put it in the
We need a loop. We need something like that. The loops, if you don't remember, were under control, right? And last time we used the repeat 10. We'll just use the forever loop, right? Why not? Why would we ever want to stop? Okay, then go ahead and try it. Does it work? How do we start it? We hit the green flag, right? And then you go, oh my God. Wow. So then inevitably what happens is your car gets stuck on the edge of your screen somewhere. You can't even see it anymore. Right? So there's two things you have to do at this point. One is you can hit the stop button. If you just keep turning, it'll eventually come back probably. If you really can't see your car at all, what you can do is you can go to motion and grab this go to command. and it's got the X and Y. Did we talk about the X and Y last week?
Yeah.
All right. So you know that if you just put in 0, 0 here and double click on that, it will take your car and put it right in the middle of the thing, and then you can move it. Where should our car be to start with? Should be at the starting line, right? So what we really want is for our car to be right here by my starting line. And so what I really need is I need to put that command right at the beginning when my game starts. So I should always make my car go to, and I'm looking up here to see this is the current location of my car. 9 and 142 for me. I'm going to put this right there before the forever loop. So that way it always starts in the right place. So I figured out where the right place is on my screen, and everybody's screen is going to be different. So figure out where the right location is for you and put a little go-to command so that you're always going to start right by the starting line. Yeah.
Is there a way to tell it to start in a normal flat position?
Oh, we need to make sure it's pointing in the right direction. How can we do that? Do we see anything on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, what's that?
Where'd it go? Points toward.
There's 2 pointing ones. One is points toward, and the options are the mouse pointer, or if you had another sprite, you can point towards the other sprite,
Or point in the direction.
right? Or point in the direction. That one is going to be a little more useful. So let's grab the point in direction. What direction should it be pointing? Probably to the right. If you do this little pull down thing here, it's pretty useful. It tells you which number is which, and 90 is actually to the right, so that's okay. We can just leave it at 90. If you want to drive the other way around the car, then you can do something different. All right. So now this is actually an important part of programming your game, right? So game programmers all know that you have to set the initial setup for your game. So all we've done is in 2 lines, we've done the initial setup for our game. This is a pretty simple game. And then we're going to drive. What did you notice about the driving? It's what? Too fast. We did this last week. Remember when the cat was walking too fast? What did we do? We moved to your steps, or we put a wait command in. And we could do either one here. The easy thing to try is to move the fewer steps. So if I say 5 steps, let's see if that's any better.
1 is good.
Oh, you like 1 step?
I'm using 1. I can control the car.
You can stay on the, yeah, I'm having a little trouble staying on the track here.
You can also increase the angle you turn every time.
Oh, yeah. So you can, instead of 15 degrees, you could go more.
Yeah.
By the way, you can actually change this number while it's running. Anybody who did programming back in the old day, you know you break your computer if you ever tried to do that in the old days. But Scratch is very forgiving. It will let you get away with a lot of stuff. So I can change it while it's still going. 2 is pretty slow. I don't know. What do you think? It's like grandma driving there.
5
Here.
and 45.
No.
Either that or 5 and 25.
All right.
20 degrees is pretty good.
All right. It's time for us to learn an important thing with Scratch. What if we wanted to be able to speed up and slow down our car at will? Like a real car, right? What would we have to do to make our car be able to speed up and slow down? We'd have to be able to change what? Well, but what part of our script would we change?
You press the button, the steps go up or down or something like that.
Yeah, we want to change this number, right? Because this number will make it speed up and slow down. So what do you call a number that's constantly changing? In math, perhaps. A variable, exactly. Cool. I'm just checking to see if David is on. I don't think I might not have given him the right link. All right. Yeah, we want a variable, right? And variables are, of course, very important for math. They're also very important for programming. And Scratch does have variables in them. The variables are all located under data. So there's a data option down there. We haven't used that yet. And if you look at data, wow, there's nothing there. Make a variable. Okay, so let's make a variable. What do we want to call this variable? Speed. Excellent. Now, one important thing about making variables is you have 2 choices. We have for all sprites and for this sprite only. And for those of you who've done programming, I hope you recognize that for all sprites means you're a global variable. right? And for this sprite only means you're a local variable. I would say for this sprite only, and the reason for that is because then I can have two cars and they could each have their own speed and they can go at different speeds, right? So we can have separate things. So let's say for this sprite only, we'll have a speed variable. And as soon as we click OK, hey, then we get a bunch of blocks. Cool. Notice this top block there with the little checkbox that says speed, right? And I can uncheck it and check it, and that shows you whether or not speed is going to show up on the screen there. That's the actual value of the variable speed, is that little round thing, right? And what I can do is I take this rounded speed thing there and I drop it into a rounded hole, like for example, where it says move steps. So now it says move speed steps. So now all I have to do is change what speed is equal to, and I can speed up and slow down, right? So how should we do that? What would be the right?
So change speed by.
If you're driving this car with your arrow keys, what would you think you would do to speed up?
One up arrow key is
Hold it
pressed.
down.
Or space bar.
Up arrow or space bar, or you could do anything you like, right? It's your game, right? So now I'm going to move these down since we already know how to do these. So now if I say the up arrow, what should happen to speed when the up arrow key gets pressed?
It increases by 1. Change by 1.
Exactly. Change by 1, which is going to increase it, right? If I want to do the down arrow, that's coming almost the same thing, right? I'm going to grab my little duplicate thing here and boom, I'm duplicating this whole script, and I can change it from up arrow to down arrow. What should I change here? Change speed by 1?
-1.
Exactly. Thank you, Jacob. You're natural at this.
Sure.
All right. So now I've got up arrow and down arrow when my keys get pressed. We have one important thing we haven't done yet. So we know how to make the speed go up and down, but what is it? We haven't set what the speed is at the beginning yet, right? So we need to do that as well. Where should we set our speed at the beginning? Where does that go?
0.
We could set it to 0, absolutely. But where in our script should we put that? So we've got a little command here that says set speed to 0, but I've got to attach this to something.
The green flag.
Yeah, the green flag. The green flag is always going to be like where things begin, right? So right there, when we put our car in the starting spot, we can set our speed to 0 right there. So we make sure everything is set right at the beginning.
Would it change it if you put the set speed to 0 below the go to?
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, that's all going to happen real fast, and then it's going to get stuck in this forever loop. Yeah. Cool. And so one of the things I really like about Scratch is the way that they do things like the variables and how they do the shapes, so that certain shapes do different things. Let's see. All right. So first of all, let's see if our car works. So if we drive it, it's not even moving. What do I have to do?
Press space.
Press the up arrow.
Up arrow. I got to speed up. Okay, now it's moving. Now it's moving. Oh, that's too fast. So I got to slow down.
Oh.
What happens if I slow down even slower?
You're
Oh,
stopped.
I'm going backwards. Go backwards and forwards. Do all that stuff. All right, that's pretty good. We're almost done with this, our driving game. You think that's a fun game? That's all right.
Now,
It's pretty good for, what did that take us? 20 minutes? Something like that. That's not bad. We have 1 sprite and we have 5 scripts. Go with that one. Sprite.
That's right. You didn't program it in the right place.
Cool.
I need to fix, I gotta fix this one.
So one of the things that we teach in science class is we teach the difference between your speed, like on a speedometer, and your average speed, right? So could I do something with this game to teach average speed? What is our average speed anyway?
Entire speed for the trip divided by time.
Close. You're very close.
Your
The
distance
entire
divided by
your
time.
entire what for the trip? Distance. How far you go divided by however long it takes. That's your average speed. So if I wanted to teach this to kids, I would need to figure out the distance and the time that it took me to do this. Right. So to do that, I would create a couple of variables. Right. So the first one could be distance, and I'm going to make another variable for time. And I'm putting both these as for this ride only. Right. If I wanted to calculate this, I had to figure out how to measure the time, right? And measure the distance. So first of all, I should set those variables to be what at the beginning? 0, exactly right. Cool. All right, I'm going to move these over now because I need more space for the script. All right, so I'm going to put a couple of extra set commands in here. So I'm setting my time to 0 and my distance to 0.
What's this for?
So now I'm going to measure my average speed, so that I can understand the difference between my speed and my average speed.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right.
Returns by itself.
So I've got my time, my distance, but I need to set it. So let's do the distance first. How can I measure the distance? How far have I gone? I've gone 1 lap. But what if I took a detour and stuff? Is there some measure of how do we measure distance? We measure it in the number of steps, right? Do we have that number somewhere? Yeah. Right here, when we do our move, we're moving a certain number of steps. If we just count those steps, then we'll know how far we've gone, right? Does that make sense? So all I need to do is I need to say change my distance by how much should I change it by?
Speed.
Speed, because that's the number of steps that I'm taking, right? All right, it sounds a little weird to say speed with that, because it's really a measure of distance. Right. So I'm measuring how far I go each time I move, right? And I'm totaling that up. And then I need to measure what's my total time, right? Well, time, the way you measure time in Scratch is you go into the light blue. Have we used the light blue yet? Okay, so sensing is really cool. There's a lot of fun things you can do with sensing. You can figure out if your sprite is touching things. So like if one of the things that you can do with this game is if you go off your track, something bad should happen to you. So if you touch, say, the green color, then something, your car can blow up, or you can slow down, or something can happen. Kids always want to make the car blow up. Anyway, but the sensing also has a timer built into it, right? So the way the timer works is the timer basically runs all the time, and the only thing you can do is you can reset it. All right, so I'm going to reset my timer right at the beginning. There we go. And then every time, let's see, what should I do here? Oh, I know what I do. So I created a time variable. I didn't really need a time variable, did I? Because I've already got a timer variable. All right, let's do that. All right. So average speed, I'm making another variable called average speed. That'll be easier. I'm going to get rid of my time variable because I don't really need that one. I'm deleting time.
March time.
Yeah. I don't really need that one. Okay, good. So now I've got my average speed. So my average speed, and I'm just going to use a set command here where it says set average speed, and then I've got to do some math. So the average speed is what?
0.
It's the total of your distance divided by your time, right? So what I need to do is, so I'm going into the green where I could do all my math, and I've got a division here. So I'm going to put this division. Now here, this is a little weird because they put a square box there instead of a round one, but I can still drop this into it. So there's my division statement. So I want to take my distance which I have a variable, and my time, which is this blue timer variable. So I say average speed is my distance divided by my time, right? And if I'm in science class, I should be learning these things anyway. All right. So now when I run my car, you can see all the variables are changing. I've got my distance measure here, and my average speed is there, and my average speed is like, what is that? The average speed stays pretty constant, but if I speed up, then my average speed starts to go. Then if I get stuck on the edge, my average speed starts going down, I think. Oh, you know what? It doesn't actually. Oh, yeah, because it thinks I'm still moving, even though I'm stuck.
To do the distance divided by time.
So that was a green operator. Anyway, all right, that's enough, I think, with the cars. There's lots of fun things you can do with the cars. You can set it to measure how the time it takes you to do a lap by checking to see if you're touching that finish line color, right? Or you can, if you want to create two cars, what would you need to do? All you need to do is you need to copy your sprite, and it copies all the scripts. And the only thing you would need to change is which keys control the car, right? So what are the keys what other keys would you use? Gamers all know the answer to this, right? Yeah, ASDF, right? That's the other keys that are like the arrow keys. So then you have your second car, and you change it from the arrow keys to ASDF, and then you can race against your friends and do that. And that's really simple. All you have to do is take this little duplicate and hit this. You can change your car. You can choose a different costume so that you're driving something different, and then you can go in and change your keys.
Did you get I'm sorry, when you get the timer, blue?
It was blue, yeah. Let's see. You can see that script a little better. All right. So the reason I did this whole average speed thing is to show you like how you can kind of build in something from your class into the Scratch activity that you're doing. So we have a number of activities like this that we're calling Scratch Science, where we have different science simulations that kids can build, and they can use Scratch to like answer questions and calculate things and measure things. There's also a lot of math that you can do. Of course, you've got your coordinates there, and you can do graphing, and you can do things like algebra versus cockroaches. You can create some version of that on Scratch and play around with it. So there's all kinds of fun things. But what are some other things you can do besides math and science? Math and science seem really obvious.
Stories.
You can tell stories, right? So you can talk about, you can recreate a book that you're reading or a movie or something like that. What else could you do? And this is that question that we asked on the discussion board. So I'm priming you to answer.
Do you incorporate videos?
So
Make conversation.
have a conversation, right? Like if you're teaching language, you could have one of those great how old are you, where are you from, kind of introduction to language kind of questions, or dialogues. I mean, yeah.
You get like a science class, you can do a little game where they're mixing different chemicals and conversations.
Yeah, exactly. Create a simulation where you're trying out different things and seeing what happens, right? Exactly.
From the past ones you showed us, the link,
Mm-hmm.
there was one student, she put like a bee that can move from flower to flower.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she clicked on when she moved from a flower,
Mhm.
information about the flower came out from the text. And it's a science, like, it's also about like science,
Right.
something about science.
But that same kind of thing where you've got some scene and you've got some information around it. So you remember when we did the graphics a while back, and you took a graphic and you annotated it by putting some language on it. You could do the same thing on Scratch, except when people click on, say, part of your picture, a message could come up and it would explain what's going on. Or you've got your 3 branches of government, and every time you put your mouse over it, something would happen, something like that. If you wanted to do something when your mouse goes over something, how would you do something like that? What kind of a script would you do?
Mouse over.
There's not a mouse over. So if we look at our events, right? There's an event that says when the sprite gets clicked, but we don't have an event for when the mouse is over a sprite. We don't have an event for that. What you can do though is if you get a green flag, you just get one of these forever loops. And when I program, I have a lot of forever loops. And you would just put it in there to say if, and then under sensing, we have a thing that says sensing if you're touching the mouse pointer, right? So it just sits there and waits until you're touching the mouse pointer, and then something can happen, right? So as soon as it touches the mouse pointer, then you can do something. So these are some ideas for things that you could do in your stories that you're creating for this class, or ideas for things that students could do if you were going to work with them in Scratch like that. All right. Are there questions that you have about Scratch at this point? You can ask questions later too. But let's talk about the assignment a little bit. So the assignment is real simple. I tried to define it as generally as possible. All you have to do for the assignment is create some kind of a story. I know it said game on the site last week, but I fixed it. So we're just creating some story. So you're going to tell some story with sprites on the thing, and you can tell it through words using that say command that we did last week. You can do audio files. You can act it out silently. However you want to do it.
Could you use the knock joke like you did in class?
Is that more story-like? That could be the beginning of something, right? Tell a story starting with a knock-knock joke, sure.
How long are you?
I thought we had to redo somebody else's.
You can redo somebody else's. You can borrow somebody else's Scratch and modify it, or you can create something totally on your own. It doesn't need to be very long. It can be a very short. It can be, the itsy bitsy spider, something like that. Something.
If we actually took something that is already on Scratch website and made some changes to it, that's not plagiarism. That's allowed.
That's allowed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, don't just take somebody else's stuff and turn it in and say it was yours, but take someone else's stuff and build onto it and add onto it, and then you can turn it in.
You can take some scripts in the backpack and apply them.
Take some scripts, or even do a remix. Did we talk about remixing?
Yeah.
So if you go to someone else's Scratch and you really like it,
Yeah.
you just go, you look inside it, and you hit the remix button. It makes a copy into your own account. Yeah.
Can it be short? One or?
Definitely. Yeah, it doesn't need to be terribly long. More than a long knock-knock joke, less than a novel. Not less than, what was that, Lord of the Flies one? That's too long. Don't do that. All right. Once you have your Scratch and you're like, okay, this sounds good, you go ahead and you click the share button, right?
Does your timer work? Mine doesn't.
The timer works okay. If
When
you click
do
this,
a lap,
yeah. Anyway, we'll get back to that. So when you click the share button, so you go ahead and share it. Did we do sharing last week? I don't remember if we did or not. Anyway, so when you share it, you get this screen where you can write some instructions and give it a title, put some credits down. And this is the same page where people can click on the, favorite project, I love this project, or they can make comments about it, right? Just like on Facebook or YouTube or any of those other things, right? But then we want to then add this to our studio. So we have a studio where we keep all the 514 scratches, right? And to get to the studio, you go back to the class page, and right here where it says post a story by adding it to the class studio, this is a link. And so you click on studio here. And so you can see what other people have done with their things. And now in the past years, we didn't always do stories. So some things look a little different. You can see a lot of people did their car racing game, right? But we're trying to do stories this year. And then when you get here, you just click where it says add projects. And you say add projects, and then all of a sudden your project, anything that's shared should show up down at the bottom. And you just click the add button.
Oh my God.
And that adds it in there, and then we can all see it. And then, of course, I get to see it, and so I can give you credit for having finished the Scratch assignment.
So this is how we turn in the Scratch.
It's a Mayweather versus
Oh,
Pacquiao.
that's pretty good.
Nice.
That's David.
Very thoughtful. Very timely. All right. So David already added his, so we can do it. This looks very authentic. I like it. Oh, by the way, there's a full screen mode if you click this button. There we go. Did he do this Saturday night? I'm guessing. Waiting for the fight to start. All right, very nice. So so if you like this one, you can remix David's and add on to it. Oh yeah, right. All right. Oh, so optimistic. All right, good. Maybe I have to amend that one. All right. Cool. So David, nice job if you're listening to this. So does everybody have some idea what they're going to do? Cool. Your favorite story? Any story you want?
I did something.
Is yours up already?
I say mine's up there too.
Oh yeah, cool.
It's not good, but it's up there.
But I think
Well, she has.
Is this yours, Samantha?
Yeah. It's just the ASAP speaking.
Oh, very nice. Oh, sound effects. Very nice. Oh.
Yeah.
Sound effects are not always perfect, but you go with what you got.
No, I
right?
probably would have chosen that one even if there was like a roll.
Cool. Shall I do, is yours up as well?
no, I didn't post it.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Well, when you get a chance, go ahead and post it into the studio. Cool, and then we can all play each other's games. So that's going to wrap it up for the semester. That's our final project. So you have till May 18th to complete this. What else are we working on? Lesson plans. Only 2 people have turned in their lesson plans so far, which means you all have some work to do. And by the 18th, that's our new deadline. Get those in. Questions about the lesson plans?
Can we show them to you before we submit them? See if they meet the requirements?
Sure. Yeah. Happy to look at stuff. The requirements, if you're wondering what the requirements are, where did we have that? That was a couple of weeks ago. That week that we didn't meet has all the requirements on it, right? Lesson plan assignment guidelines and sample lesson plans here. That's under week 12. Okay. All right. And I don't know, I was just going to give some kind of little pep talk about technology. Last semester, I got to give this great talk about how we're going to get the iPads and LA Unified, and that was going to be great. And okay, that didn't happen. But you know, we are getting technology. I know several schools that are, because the district is not doing them, that they're going to move forward with technologies. Granada Hills is getting technology. Monroe High School got laptops like a couple weeks ago. So this is a real thing, and so there's plenty of teachers out there who'll tell you, don't mind all that stuff. It's never going to happen, but we really are going to be teaching with technology as a regular thing in the near future. Not quite yet, but very near. So and all the stuff that you learn will all be obsolete in a couple of years, but there'll be new things that are kind of like it. And now that you know how to do stuff, you can figure out how to learn things as you go. So it's all going to be good. I had a couple of things that I was just going to, where did I put all that? Oh yeah, here we are, down at the very bottom. A couple of things that you want to keep track of. Computers in the classroom, slowly but surely. Managing modern students. So part of class management is now going to be managing the technology in the room, which is annoying, but we have to do it. And so it's keeping track of people's phones, keeping track of their accounts, Google accounts, whatever you're using to communicate with them, Edmodo, Google, all that stuff, and keeping them on task while they're on. And a lot of that is making sure they have something interesting to engage them and not expecting them to sit quietly while they've got this really cool device in front of them that's tempting them to play with it. So use the devices, get them engaged. That's going to be the key. And lastly, use the technology to help yourself and make sure you share resources with the other teachers. And there's tons of websites out there with lesson plans. I know teachers that have set up like Dropbox and other things for other teachers in their schools, so they can be exchanging lesson plans that way. And so you can use the technology to help you and make your job a lot easier. So those are my 3 kind of pep talk tech points. So as you go out there and be teachers, you will see all this stuff, and hopefully some of the things will be useful that we did this semester.
So, because that's your website, can we access the stuff from 514 after the class is over?
Absolutely. I will keep this website up. Your password will continue to work. And so you can always get back in here and access these resources. And of course, you know how to find me too. If you're wondering, hey, what was that thing we did? I get those emails all the time.
And then when was the deadline for the technology cohort?
Well, we actually extended the deadline for the tech cohort. That's on the front page. We extended it to mid-May. So if you know anyone trying to apply for that, and that's something to think about in a couple of years, once you've been out teaching a while, to come back to to do the master's program. We have lots of good master's programs here, not just the tech one. And they all involve some level of technology. But the tech one, if you're really into the tech, come back and do the tech masters. That's good. The other thing is there's this cool conference happening in LA in June. So once school is out, if you want to go to the Digital Media and Learning Conference, it's got really cool people coming to talk about all sorts of interesting things. And they've got a teacher workshop day. They're going to do it downtown LA. I'm going to be out of town. I'm traveling, but it's going to be cool. Kind of wishing I was going to be there, but that's all right. Can't make them all. Anyway, and there's other cool conferences like, ISTE conference next year will be in LA. So next summer, you'll be hearing a lot about ISTE, I-S-T-E. That's a really big tech conference. Yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So things are happening, stuff like that. Cool. Any more questions? I will stick around here to help people with Scratch stuff. Feel free to stay. What's that?
Are we doing your evaluations?
Oh, the evaluation. Yeah, if you could stay for a couple minutes, I'll go get the evaluations and we can do that. I keep forgetting about those. This is it. We're all done. There's just the Scratch and lesson.
Sure. Okay, so you just go file new. Well, do you want to save it? Okay, so then you gotta cancel. Decide to save it. Why not? That's what I'm
I was trying to keep it. So what username do I do?
Are we done with this or?
Yeah.
No, you have to
He's saying he's just, I want you to say this for a second to learn about that. Okay, then you can wait. He's saying he's gonna stay to help you with the Scratch stuff.
This is my only game.
I created 2 finals. I know, I'm gonna do a phase on, because it's just so on top of it.
Okay, this is a little bit late. We were supposed to have this already turned in. No, we're not too bad. By May 8th, right? That's 2 days from now. All right. You want to take control of this thing? Awesome. Cool. All right. So we've got the student evals. I really appreciate you putting comments on there so we can find out what things we need to change about the class and stuff that you liked, stuff that you didn't like. It's all anonymous, of course, unless you have really distinctive handwriting. I have no idea what your handwriting looks like, so that wouldn't help me at all. But yeah, we do appreciate you taking the time to fill those out. Cool. All right. So I need to leave the room while you fill those out. So somebody, when everybody's done, just knock on my door down the hall. And if you want to stick around and work on Scratch, that's great. If you want to go, you're definitely welcome to go. But have a good luck with finals and see you next semester.
It was supposed to go, I'm in trouble with.
I know. I highlighted those.
I said only do this offer. No.
One of the surveys points.
Good.
I don't know why it's very different. One like board or something.
Because.
How long, like that's a couple of days worth of activities?
This is today's.
Other teachers.
Two periods.
Perfect.
I can upload it to be done.
Sounds good. Yep.
Rest of the before you go, I listened to the assignments that were on the desktop at work was like they're not. Is there any recovery for us to redo them?
They weren't anywhere else. They weren't in your email or anything.
I thought they were. I was wrong. I can redo it.
That's harsh. If they wiped the disk, then yeah, it's not gonna be any good.
All right, I'll figure it out. I'll redo it after this. So.
Yeah, no.
What I hate about the medical field.
I know a lot of
They're
things.
using.
Very generic with their terms.
Administration.
Like CBD tumor.
Well, they use a chemical like everything. Like a growth. But it's benign. That's called lesion. We have our coma. And benign tumor mass.
Where's the envelope?
Done.
Yes. Sorry.
You good?
Thanks.
Yep.
Do you want to put yours in, Brian?
Yes.
No problem.
يشمل another field. أصلا صحيح. What do you want to add?
Real closet.
I can change the scratch. I can make it as a class assignment. I have my kids, 20 of them. Pick the best one.
Just like the one.
Some is doesn't take what? You have waste. You have waste. You don't have waste.
How was supposed to do it?
You don't have waste.
Here you go.
Why did you find it? It's not driving now. Yes. You must have it. It's connected to the waste. You have all my contacts? Why is that gonna go there? Hmm? No. What? For what? Trash. Okay, there's something wrong with that. Space. Not iron. Change it.
Please type every number you hear. Please type every number you hear. Spaces.
Just let me try. Okay, retype the password.
Okay, I don't want this.
Maybe there's a space. Maybe there's a space. It's saying it's directed at the instruction.
No, wait.
And that's why I said.
You guys, what did you?
Spell it. Well, that is accepted. Until your email.
Let's just keep this same about what the post.
Question. If you put the wrong email, it will tell you. Yeah, I get that. But you rest of the night, you have that something.
All right, everybody's finished with that? All right, great.
I don't know.
You look like you have a question.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
can I just stand here and study?
Oh, yeah. No worries, there's no class coming in later.
So now the timer we did, was that supposed to time the amount of time it took to do it live?
So it doesn't stop. That's the thing about the timer. It just keeps going forever.
Well, see, mine doesn't even,
If you want to see what the timer
Oh,
is,
add project?
click on the sensing at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And you select the ones
Where
where
the timer is, click on the little box. You have the box. Now it's up there. Right, so it just keeps going until you.
because it says sprite time and sprite speed
Yeah,
up here.
I realized that I can actually need that other time.
Oh, so you know,
So I changed that time.
sprite time.
Well, we made it, it was under data. And then we realized we didn't need it.
Yeah, but where did we put it in here?
I think we changed it.
Yeah, 'cause I've
It
got
used to say
average,
100.
I've got average speed, but it doesn't say that up here. Oh, it's right here. But how, why didn't we put it in?
Well, you can do that, it's right there.
Oh,
The cheap little board.
and then also, if I go here,
All right, signing off.